Yeah. Don't get too comfortable in the streets, cause niggas, they love with that. Don't get too comfortable in the streets, cause niggas, they love with that. Yeah. Where the guy sit on the let's get it. I got a 5-course meal on my collar. You could eat a lobster and steak with a pot full of snakes. God steady blessing my partners. Bernie with the bowl, but I'm Trump with the dollars. Rapunzel on the wrist, rose gold, 8 hour. Head full of diamonds, hand full of scholars. Picture what you pickin', pickpocket, egg robber. Batman trying to beat Bane with a bottle. Tell him sick come, he don't want a problem. Redhead still, river dancing on the island. I'm from Riverdale, so you know I'm staying silent. But at the same time, my silence is a Bible. In the strip club, it's 30 on my arrival. They gon' either praise you or either dislike you. Either way it go, my sniper probably a guide you. 360, so you know who I'm around to. Asking worker man, what the fuck you been up to? Feeding my families, that's friends who got stuck to. Yeah, cause and effect, off of my death. God only bring a real nigga to the steps. I looked at my phone, saw shadow with death. I turned Kanye, cause he still gon' protect. I turn God when I roll up the dope. Roll up the dope. Roll up the dope. When I roll up the dope. Whipping the ghost. Ghost. Whipping the ghost. Ghost. Whipping the ghost. I peel off when I whip with the ghost. And I work with the ghost, with the ghost, with the ghost, and I work with the ghost. Amen. Pray to the coat, pray to the coat, pray to the coat. Amen, amen. When I pray to the coat, when I pray to the coat. Yeah, one soul, stay in my lows, 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 stay in my lows. Pull up the rose, twist up the blows. Twist up the blow, twist up the blow, twist up the blow, twist up the blow. Yeah, I'm God, so that bitch a go. Yeah, that bitch a go. That bitch a go. That bitch a go. So that bitch a go. Yeah, that bitch a go. Go. Pull up the road. Pull up the road.
Watch how I stick to my grind, I never get out of line. Bitches, they paying a fine just to come sit by the dime. I'm drippin', I'm not in my prime, out of sight, out of mind. She callin', she all on my line, told her quit sniffing them lines. Too many niggas confined, tryna get plugged with a rhyme. Niggas, they wanna do crime, but they don't wanna do time. What part of the game is you playing? Better take heed what I'm saying. All of this pressure applied, the pressure has been applied. For the ride, gotta get closer to God. They pop my homie in the head, making sure he ain't survive. Times could get hard with no fan. That's why I'm down on my knees till I elevate. Watch how I stick to my grind, I never get out of line. Bitches, they pay the fine just to come sit by the dime. I'm drippin', I'm not in my prime, out of sight, out of mind. She callin', she all on my line, told her quit sniffing them lines. Watch how I stick to my grind, I never get out of line. Bitches, they pay the fine just to come sit by the dime. I'm drippin', I'm not in my prime, out of sight, out of mind. She callin', she all on my line, told her quit sniffing them lines.
All right, just try to get that loop be killing me, bro. I'll be forgetting to click that loop button every time. But let's go to the SB Talk Sports Real Takes Over Fake Debate. Shaq Bond. This is a Real Takes Over Fake Debate show, live every Monday and Friday at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time and 8 p.m. Eastern Time. I am your host, Shaq Barnes, aka SB Talk Sports, with another of my other hosts. Shaw Webb is in the building. What's going on, Shaw?
SB, what's going on, brother? How you doing?
Besides getting double hit with the loop, yeah, pretty much, yeah, cool. Just a regular day, man. Just a regular day.
Yeah.
So Sean, we still at the point of the off season, and it's still kind of dry news when it comes to the sport world. Can't deny that. But usually some people fall for the trap of what the media does say. I ain't gonna necessarily call it a trap. But before we get into that, let's salute the chat is in the building. Nicholas Brown is in the building. Land 216 in the building. My boy Kevin Berger is in the building. Shout out Kevin Berger. You probably will be seeing more Kevin soon. Real Takes Over Fake Debates University. Trying to start a college sports show. He's going to be one of the main hosts of that show. Shout out Tiffany Ned in the business. Salute everyone. Everyone, please hit the like button. Please make sure you hit the like button. Please make sure you share and subscribe. Shout out Grave Money. I guess he obviously see the topic of the video. He said he's 100% correct. It's a very American thing to do. If we the best in America, we are the best in the world. Laugh out loud. Kevin Berger said, let's go. And then my boy Ty said, salute. I disagree necessarily with that. But since we're already on the topic, let's go ahead and get right into it, man. Let's go ahead and get right into it. So, Olympic track star Noah Lyles questioned the NBA's World Championship label. And to be more exact, we had the exact quotes. Give me a second for that one. But Sean, what did you think when you actually seen him officially say that? Did you think he was a good or a bad thing? Actually, I could just put the picture up. I'm not putting the video up. Go ahead, but you give me your comments on why I pulled the picture up.
Yeah, it was for me when I first heard it, it was very tongue in cheek.
Mm-hmm.
He was, kind of joking when he was saying it, but there's an old saying, there's often truth in jest.
Yes.
And so, I understood what he was saying. And geographically, he is right.
Correct.
Geographically, he is correct. He's 100% correct. And also just, what I want people to understand is you got to look at it from his perspective as someone who trains and goes all over the world to compete.
Correct.
Beating people in different countries. And Noah Lyles he's one of the United States best track athletes and best sprinters. Let me be very clear. So he's going to have a perspective on it as someone who does go around the world and to different places to compete and to beat the best of the best all over the world. In the NBA, you play all of your games in North America. And, and even though the NBA does have a huge international contingent, it's not like they're going all over the world to beat teams and then, they're playing against teams from all over the world in the NBA. So I think that's where I agree with them. Now, the sentiment is understood. The practicality is the NBA is the best basketball league in the world.
No question. It's no question the best. It's not even close. Yeah. That's like that's like comparing the MLS to any other league over there on the other side. We're not close.
Yeah, no.
Perfect example. Perfect example. I'm saying two examples. One for the soccer, like Lionel Messi is right here now. He still can dominate. And we look at NBA players like Dwight Howard, who can't get a job but go over there in Taiwan and looking like prime LeBron James, or Ryan Hollis Jefferson right now looking like the left-handed Mamba, or DeMarcus Cousins in Puerto Rico looking like Sacramento. It's not close. It's not close. Right?
Yeah. And I think that's the thing. And again, this comes from the perspective of an athlete who goes all over the world to compete. If you're a tennis player and you go to Wimbledon and you go to the Australian Open and you go to the French Open and you're going to compete in these tournaments all over the world and you're competing against people from all over the world and you're beating them, it's a lot easier to say, yeah, you're the world champion. In boxing, if you are the heavyweight champion of the world, providing you're not fighting a bunch of, tomato
cans.
it's easy to say, yes, you are the heavy champion of the world. The NBA, because again, it is centralized to North America. It's not the world geographically, but the part that you need to remember is there are a lot of the best international players are in the NBA,
right?
And so there is some merit to when you say you're a world champ. You are playing against and competing with guys from all over the world. It's not American players.
Look, Sean, let's get into the exact quote because I have when I read this quote, like, I mean, I got it. Like, it's like I said, two things could be true. I get the point where you saying it, but to come at the situation like this, and in a sport that your sport that we don't dominate, and you comparing it to a sport that we clearly dominate, is different. But I'm gonna tell you how I got the energy just after I read the quote. I'm gonna tell you what type of energy he gave me when he said this. He said, the one thing, this is an exact quote from Noah Lyles during the Olympics. He said, the thing that hurts me the most is that I have to watch the NBA finals and they have world champions on their heads. World champions of what? The United States? And this is the type of energy it gave me, Sean.
Top flight security of the world, Craig. Not just the city, the world.
The world, Craig. The world, Craig. He said, y'all not champions of the world. The world, Craig. And I'm like, okay, my true sentiment of it was just like, bro, really? Like, I'm like, what led to it? Because I watched like a good 5-minute clip of. I didn't watch like the whole press conference, so obviously I probably didn't get the full context. But from what I seen, I didn't see nothing to just make the NBA catch a straight like that. And also the NBA players didn't like that at all.
Right.
So obviously you see Kevin Durant here. He said, somebody help this brother. Let's help him. And then, Kevin Durant, Devin Booker timed in. And this was everybody in the NBA. Hold on, I'm going to move the banner down for just 1 second so you can see everything at the bottom. Easy money sniper as always. Obviously, Kevin Durant. He said, someone help this brother. D-Book did this emoji like, come on, bro. Dame said, the fuck? Aaron Gordon said, whatever I'm smoking, buddy, in the 200. No, you're not. Aaron Gordon,
we're not doing that.
Look, we can dominate basketball-wise, but I'm guaranteed you're not going to beat them. I believe this is Tyus Jones. He said, yeah, this ain't it. I don't know who Juwan Owani. I don't know who that is. He said, last time I checked.
Yeah, 101.
101. That's all like, I don't know exactly what it is. Anybody know who 101 is? Instagram tag, let me know. He said, last time I checked, the NBA was the best competition in the world. And then Udonis Haslem said, and I knew this was UD, not even off the name because of the hashtag. That was an old man hashtag. He said, big fan, but gone with that bullshit, bro. Hashtag sucker. That's what I do. I said, once he said hashtag sucker, I said, I know that's UD because that was an old man comment. But the one comment that I do want to highlight that was said was the NBA is the best competition in the world. Like, when you look at other different leagues and you talk about it, like everybody wants to come to the NBA. We have literally the best competition in the world. It is the best league. And it's not like no limitation because I found out doing a little research that it is limitations on how many international players, American players you get overseas, but I know they like find ways around it, like getting citizenship and all that. But in the NBA, there's no limitations. So like Jokic is one of the best players. Giannis is one of the best players. Luka is one of the best players. The prodigy of the draft right now, Victor Wembanyama, is in the NBA league.
The reigning MVP.
The reigning MVP, international. So, and I'm looking at it like, okay, even though geographically the NBA champions are not the world champions, you have to look at it from the aspect of, but they are the best competition in the world. And we are so dominant in that we don't even bring our best players, which is a perfect example of what's going on in FIBA now. And we just beat Greece, which we're going to talk about in a second, by 20 with our young players, the 25 and other guys, the next generation of guys. So I think like it comes from the hater perspective for me, but I think the NBA is a sport where we could get away by saying you are the world champions because this is the best competition. To me.
Yeah, I mean, again, I would think they say the same thing in the NFL, right? It's the world champions, the Super Bowl champions. They say the same thing. It's not as prevalent because they usually say Super Bowl champs over world champs. But the fact is that, when you're largely considered the best league in the world, most people say you're the world champs. So at the end of the day, I understood what he was saying. Again, people that are flaming them,
But the NBA, I expected from NBA players because you defended your league. You defending your league. So
you're protective of that, right? But at the end of the day, world champ, local champ, champ is a champ. So let's not get too bogged down in that. Yeah, now see, with another thing that like with this situation is because even if it's not the world champions, but I guarantee you, if you take any NBA team right now and play against any best team they think around the world, we're gonna blow. I think you can take the Orlando Magic right now and put them over there, and they'll probably beat whoever the best team. It's better. I'm not gonna deny that it's better, but I kind of went a little bit far saying Orlando Magic. That's kind of a little bit disrespectful. But you get the gist of what I'm saying. So if the Denver Nuggets go play somebody's best team, I think we'll beat them. But then it's like, okay, even if the USA team, which they most likely go win gold, because I believe 100% that we have more gold basketball-wise than any other sport, I would believe, right? Yes. More gold. Basketball, yeah. We got the highest chance of winning gold. So I'm like, I don't think you should be talking. That's just me. That's just me, Sean. I just think, like, I get the gist of it. Yeah, bro, you technically correct, but I feel like I'm not rocking with it. That's just me. Yeah. So then let me know what you guys think about this. Even though, Ted, was he right? Was he wrong? Tell what you guys think about it. Let us know. Drop your thoughts in the chat.
Drop your thoughts in the chat. While I'm still out here sharing the stream, make sure you guys like, share, subscribe. Next subject, Sean, because speaking of Team USA, let's go ahead and stay on it. America cruise past Greece. Hold on, I'm going to type up so I get the exact stats. But yes, speaking of basketball, where we just dominating, we dominate Greece. Yep. And the score was, last time I checked, was 108. Well, I'm trying to pull the article up. Did you see, also, while I pulled this up, did you see that Brandon Eagle said he was frustrated with playing with Team USA? I guess he was saying he was trying to find his fit with the team. Yes. What you think about that while I pull up the score real quick?
I mean, there's always one.
He's the Melo of the team. But now Melo actually played his role with Team USA. I'll take that back. I'm sorry, Melo.
Yeah,
sorry, Melo, for the disrespect.
No, ain't no disrespect. No, when Melo bought in to coming off the bench, and being basically a scoring threat off the bench, it worked.
It definitely did work.
So I think a lot of it is, and this was always, and it goes back to the first Dream Team, and were guys willing to, let go of the personal ego for the greater good, and so and not everybody can do that. So that's why playing on the Olympic team is not always an easy thing. There's nothing like this experience. The closest you get to it is maybe an all-star game, but you're not playing for anything in the all-star game. This has weight. You're playing to qualify for the Olympics right now, and then obviously next summer playing for a medal. So everybody can't do it. Everybody can't do it. Everyone can't do it. And so it's not surprising that somebody has said they are struggling, particularly if you're used to playing 40 minutes a night, and now you might only play 15 minutes a night.
And you're used to getting like 20 shots a game. Now you might only get 5.
Right, exactly.
That's a difference.
So it's a difference. But the teams that have struggled in international play usually have one or multiple guys who feel this way.
Yeah. Because everybody's like pretty much, I'm looking at the roster right now, and then before I get into the breakdown of who was the hero of the game. And speaking of Brandon Ingram, he only had 5 points, so yeah, he's definitely struggling with it. You got Bronson, Triple J, and Edwards, Brandon Ingram, Mikal Bridges, Walker Kessler, Bobby Portis, Halliburton, Paulo Banchero, Austin Reeves, Josh Hart, Cam Johnson. So probably besides Cam Johnson, Josh Hart, Austin Reeves, and Bobby Portis, everybody else on this team either the number one guy or a key component on their team.
Right.
So you got to make that sacrifice. But also, just to give you guys a score update, the score was 109-81. Team USA dominated Greece. Take that, Noah, because, we just dominate the gold in basketball. Austin Reeves was the highest scoring man with 15 points off the bench. He went 4 for 7. And speaking of the guy that we struggled, Brandon Ingram had 5 points, went 2 for 4 from the field. And then Jalen Brunson gave you 13, went 5 for 5 from the field. And Anthony Edwards went 4 for 11 from the field, but gave you 13 points. So I think when you look at this from both perspectives, from the Noah perspective, NBA is just so dominant. So I get why they say it, but like I said, geographically, you might be correct. But then also with Brandon Ingram, you have to make that sacrifice and you got to find a fit. For me, I think since we're just on the topic of Brandon Ingram, I think he should probably try to be more the disruptor defender and work on maybe playing his catch and shoot game. Because I know he used to dribble and have the ball in his hand, but that's not going to work on Team USA. You got to make a sacrifice. Everybody got to make a sacrifice to that game. For me.
Yeah.
So I don't see pretty much what else BI could do for that one. But also, Sean, because when we see these young players who do get frustrated like this, what is a true time limit for star development in the NBA? Because, remember last week we was talking about how Team USA helped and benefit players, and everybody did a good job with coming back the next season and learning everything they did. It got better. What is a true timeline for star development in the NBA for you?
I think it depends on where and what age the player comes into the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
I think we don't see too many 4-year seniors anymore. 4-year college seniors, let me be specific. So you're coming into the NBA at 22, sometimes 23. I think the development curve is a little less in terms of star development. So I think about somebody like Brandon Roy, for example.
Brandon Roy, nice.
Yeah, Brandon Roy was a star by his second year in the NBA. He was a rookie of the year, and then by his second year, he was an all-star. He was becoming one of those guys.
Mm-hmm.
But he was also a guy who went to college for 4 years and played all 4 years in college. Tim Duncan was an immediate star. 4-year college guy, stuff like that. Came in the NBA at 22, So I think some of it depends on the age you come in, but also it depends on the situation that you come into. If you are a guy who comes into a situation where there's already kind of an established pecking order of stars, you get more time to develop into a star. That was Kobe's situation when he got, traded to the Lakers. Was he walked into a situation where there was already a developed pecking order of stars. They had 3 other all-stars on that team. And so he got the time he needed to develop because he came in at, he was drafted at 17, so I think it a lot of it depends on the situation. I don't think there's a blanket answer, to be honest with you. It's very much it very much depends on the situation, the scenario that a guy goes into, and then ultimately it also depends on that organization.
Right,
does the organization understand how to develop stars and what it takes to develop stars and the patience that you have to have with particularly a younger guy coming in who's got star potential, but are you willing to go through that process to develop a star, allow them to kind of take their lump, so to speak, as they're developing.
Yeah, for me, and that's an excellent point, Sean, because the most thing important, a lot of people forget this. Nobody in the NBA is truly a trash basketball player. Your situation matters the most. I've seen a lot of players who were great and went to bad situations, didn't really get the most out of it. And I see players who lead them bad situations and still become great. And sometimes when your organization don't believe, so that can hurt your development. Now, I don't think the problem that we have in this era that we let everybody it's a microwave era. Everything is fast. I want you to be good now, today. If you ain't showing up today, or if you is good in college, instantly everybody's gone. Everybody's gone instantly. They're like, maybe a guy could be like, oh, he got potential to be great. But if he stay in college one more year, he might become elite because he can sharpen his game. And maybe the new NIL rules with everybody making money now in college that might change the game. We're going to wait and see. That's why I was like, especially like Caleb Williams, which we're going to get into football later. Caleb Williams, like, I ain't going to lie. All the money I'm making in college, I'm throwing 40 touchdowns a season. And the Cardinals got the number 1 pick. Nah, I just make another couple 40 million in college, and then I just stay where I'm at. So, but I think a perfect timeline for an NBA player, it does depend on your team. That's one true. But if I had to just say on a regular, say if like how like if you was in like a Jordan situation, like you started off from a bad team, I think a true timeline for an NBA player, I think like 3-4 years, 3 seasons. But I want to see like improvement every year though.
Right, and again, Jordan's an interesting case. Jordan went to college for 3 years. Played under Dean Smith, who understood player development, but also you're going to play in this system. We're going to allow you to showcase some of your individual talents, but your individual talents don't supersede the team and never will. So, Jordan came into an interesting situation, like you said, in Chicago. The Bulls were not good. They hadn't had a lot of success. But I tell you one thing that people don't talk about enough with those early Bulls teams. In Jordan's rookie year, might have been his first 2 years, they had an all-star on that team. They had a superstar on that team. He was aging, but George Gervin was on that team.
And that's good vet leadership. And I think a lot of young teams, Houston Rockets, don't have that or did not have that. They got it now, but you don't understand a vet does help. Yes, go ahead. I just want to add on to that, but go ahead. Continue.
That's absolutely true. And I think that's one of the reasons why there hasn't been the push to drop the age limit back to where high school players can come directly into the NBA. They want to make sure they're always teams always have the availability to keep the veteran guys on teams. Because all great teams usually have one veteran guy, at least one.
And you need them.
Yeah, and you need him. It's that person. Whenever he speaks, everybody shuts up. Udonis Haslam's of the world, guys like that. So you need that.
Now imagine if Udonis Haslam was on that Rockets team, and he see Kevin Porter and them on a bench buying grills from Johnny Dane. That's all honestly. Besides Sengun, who showed potential, that's all I remember from the Rockets last season. Them buying grills from Johnny Dane on the bench during the game.
Yeah.
I know Udoka not going to let that slide. That's not going to happen with Udoka.
No. Listen, that Rockets team, that roster is going to turn over if guys don't buy in.
Oh, no. They let them one by one.
So, but again, like you said, they've added some veteran, leadership to that team now. So we'll see how that works out. So we'll see how it works out.
Now, okay, now were we talking about like the timeline of developing a guy, Shar? Now let's look at the opposite side of it. When it comes to the NBA and you think you got a star, when is it time to give up on that guy? What is the time frame from that point?
Again, I think it depends on your organization, in all honesty. And every organization runs differently. If you're not a free agent destination as an organization, i.e., if you're not the Lakers or the Knicks, or if you're not one of those free agent destination franchises, I think you're going to be a little less prone to give up on a guy so quickly. But also, I think it depends on how is this person developing? What's the symbiosis between the coaching staff and the front office's understanding about this particular player? There's some guys who come in the NBA who aren't going to get much better.
No, I agree.
They're not going to get much better. They are what they are. And so a lot of times it's like, okay, we understood this guy had his ceiling was very, 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 very limited. And that's okay. As long as he's still producing, as long as he's, adding to the culture of winning and blah, 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 you usually don't give up on a guy like that. But back to your original question, it goes back to what is the organizational philosophy on building and team. Right. You draft a guy, he's, of a certain age. The guy he is at 19 or 20, he may not be at 25.
Right.
So
in some situations it'd be good to wait, because I don't even think winning necessarily matters and I think that's another problem that we have. Like, we want a guy by year 2 or 3 to come and lead your team to a championship. Everybody not in a situation like the Boston Celtics, where Jason Tatum had an excellent team and he really honed his skills. Because sometimes you could be a great player, come in the league young, like Devin Booker, and you just stick with him through the long haul, even though while y'all trash, and let him develop. And now you see the flourish of his skills, and then you truly know what to build around him, which the Suns finally did. Thank God, Devin Booker. I know you was over there down in Phoenix. So now you got a situation. I think it could go hand in hand. I just think, like you said, it's more about the organization. And like, think about like if the Suns would have gave up on Devin Booker early. Like, he showed his skills, but he couldn't lead the winning, so they just gave up on Devin Booker. I think they would regret it. And sometimes teams will regret it. And we're going to transition over to football.
Yeah.
The 49ers trade Trey Lance to the Cowboys for a 4th-round pick. Mind you, they originally, to get this guy, they traded 3 first-round picks. I don't care what the other pick was in the 2nd and 3rd. It don't matter. You trade 3 first-round picks for this guy. He only played 4 games. You gave up on a guy. Maybe you should give the guy a chance. And Sean, you had a philosophy too of why you think that. I want you to get in that too. But we didn't get a chance to talk about it last week, because when our show was on, we pre-recorded the show an hour early. The trade was announced. But for me, my opinion on this trade, I think the Cowboys finesse. I'm sorry. You get a great young quarterback, even if they don't think he's at his potential. I think he can get a chance. He had the potential to be a Patrick Mahomes type quarterback. The 49ers gave him a lot to get him. And all the Cowboys did was give him a 4th-round pick. That's a steal for the Cowboys. And my opinion on the 49ers side of things, usually when a guy makes a move and spends a lot of assets to get this move, and that move does not work out, and you get pennies to the dollar of what you spend, that person usually gets fired. So why is that not the situation for the guy with the 49ers? And that's my problem, because I think whoever had a hand on pulling the trigger on Trey Lance, and I still think Trey Lance got potential, but whoever had a hand on pulling the trigger for Trey Lance, and it did not work, should get fired, because you traded 3 picks for 3 first-round picks for a 4th-round pick, essentially. And that's bad. Sean, what's your opinion on the trade? How you feel both sides? And we also said it. Like, I was like, Sean, please don't say you go to the Cowboys. As soon as I posted a video, he went right to the Cowboys. We got the dad laugh. Right. But please tell me what you think about this.
Yeah. First of all, salute to Darius. Yeah, go Noles. Can't wait. This week gonna be Noles week. Anyway,
Noles week.
No, yeah. Listen, I know y'all ain't ready for that up there. Yeah. The line I ain't done nothing in years. But the point is, no, I mean, I think the responsibility that you have when you invest this amount of capital to get a guy has to factor in to why it didn't work out. And the organization, the 49ers organization, whether it was the coaching staff or front office or a combination of both, failed Trey Lance. Now, again, some of it has been he's had some unfortunate injuries. Last year was unfortunate. They basically gave him – he was basically the starting quarterback last year.
Mm-hmm.
He broke his ankle.
Which is unfortunate.
So he only played 2 games. And so that set back his timeline. And Jimmy Garoppolo comes in. He plays well. If Jimmy Garoppolo plays out the season, Jimmy Garoppolo is gone. Trey Lance is still the quarterback of the future.
Yep.
It's only because they got Brock Purdy. And Brock Purdy played well for them. Now,
which the Jeremy Lin. Until he do it again this year. He the Jeremy Lin of football for me right now. He's Jeremy Lin
for me, and I'm with you. I'm absolutely with you, SB. He is Jeremy Lin right now for me. I want to see it again, and I want to see it now that these teams have some film on you.
Mm-hmm.
He's coming off of the UCL injury as well. So let's see what he does.
Mm.
But I think the point that a lot of people didn't see and didn't get was, let's look at Kyle Shanahan's track record with quarterbacks and the quarterbacks that he has had the most success with in his career. Kirk Cousins, the Matt Ryans, the Matt Schaubs, the Jimmy Garoppolos. Bless you.
Allergies kicking my butt.
Yes. No, understand. These quarterbacks are all very prototype.
Mm-hmm.
Trey Lance is not the prototype that Kyle Shanahan has worked with, save for RG3 in Washington. And we saw how that worked out.
Mm-hmm.
And some of it was RG3 got hurt, but some of it was they didn't really adjust the Shanahan system to RG3's skill set.
Right.
So, and the reality of it is, and I talked with a 49ers fan the other day, and he agreed. I said, the Niners are on the clock.
Mm-hmm.
And John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan are on the clock, because if Brock Purdy ain't the second coming of Joe Montana,
you done.
You're on the clock. You may have to go.
Right.
You can't mess this up. Now,
no, you can't.
The other thing I want to say really quickly is a lot of your college scouts, they tend to look at skill set and tool set and say, based on the skill set and tool set, we think this guy can be a really good football player. But I will say, traditionally, a guy who's only played one full season or started one full season of college football usually does not do well in the NFL. You want to have at least 2 seasons of starts to evaluate them. Well, Trey Lance, unfortunately, at North Dakota State, he lost his second season to start because of COVID. They canceled.
Yep.
So that factored in. And a lot of it, you're basing it on 1 year of film, but you're also basing it on workouts. You're seeing this, he's a dynamic athlete, dual threat quarterback with this tremendous arm. You're saying, wow, we can really do something with this. And we've been winning with a limited quarterback. Imagine if we can help this guy unlock his potential, what he can do here. So the Niners, did they make a mistake? The mistake wasn't trading up to get him. The mistake was you did not go through the entire process to develop him.
Yes. And I 100% agree with you on this, because my problem is this. The man only played 4 games. And I was just arguing with my homie about this too, like later before. And I was just like, yeah, man, they gave up on him. He was like, he had enough time. I say, bro, he only played 4 games. 4 games is not a good enough sample size to develop somebody or truly understand if this guy is your guy or not. I said, you remember how bad Peyton Manning played his first couple of years? If Peyton Manning played today, he would not have a job. We never got to see who he become.
Right.
So I'm like, you looking at it that 4 games is not enough. That's not even half the season.
It's not even a fourth of the season. It's a 17-game season. He's literally played less than a fourth of an NFL season.
And then and I love how you brought up like Kyle Shanahan, prototype quarterbacks he had success with. The whole dynamic that he was crying about and the 49ers was crying about, we need a guy that's different to add something different. Because all we always have was the game manager guy, but he couldn't make those dynamic plays. The whole point of getting Trey Lance was to add something different. And the second you don't like it, you replace him with what you used to. I get it. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Yeah, if you want to make it to the Super Bowl or the NFC Championship game, but you ain't gonna win because you don't have that extra dynamic that you need to get over. But I think like you said, I think they're on the clock 100%, because usually when somebody makes a mistake on a player and you give up a lot and you don't get nothing in return, I think at least they would have like a first back. I think they probably let it slide. But to only get a 4th back for Trey Lance, oh yeah, you on the clock.
Yeah,
you on the clock.
Yeah, no, they're on the clock. And to be clear, I don't dislike John Lynch. I think John Lynch is a good GM. I don't dislike Kyle Shanahan. I think Kyle Shanahan is a good head coach.
Great coach.
But I think I don't even say great. He's a good coach.
Well, I think after this, I used to call him the quarterback whisperer, or he can make anything work.
Andy Reid's the quarterback whisperer, but that's
agree.
Yeah. You know, Shanahan's living on his last name. Let's be clear. If his dad wasn't Mike Shanahan, we wouldn't even know who he was, to be clear. And he's got the complexion for protection. Another conversation. Point is that he has made his bones as an offensive guy. And whether and again, he needs to get more smoke, not because of also how they handle this, but because he's the primary reason why the Falcons lost that Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Let's not forget. Sorry, Falcon fans, to bring that up, but let's just be clear. He's the primary reason why y'all lost. All right.
I forgot he had a hand in that, didn't he?
Yeah, he was always a coordinator. So yeah, he had a hand in that. But anyway. So he needs more smoke. And again, if Brock Purdy ain't the second coming of Joe Montana, it's a failure. It's an absolute failure.
Yeah. And then, Sean, you also had, and I agree, because if it ain't like he can't just be a good starting quarterback. He has to be great, point blank period, great. You also had another theory, Sean, that the media played a hand in them giving up on Trey Lance too. Can you hit the people with the theory that you had?
So essentially, everybody gets excited. Media gets excited about this next Tom Brady story, the next underdog story, right? And Brock Purdy, last pick of the draft, Mr. Irrelevant. They call him Mr. Irrelevant, like the person who's least likely to make the team, the final 53. Mr. Irrelevant comes in and saves the day, and he leads the Niners to the NFC Championship game, albeit he's playing with a top flight defense and some of the best weapons in the NFL. But yes, the conversation. But the media loves to pump that up. They love to pump the underdog story. And whether these teams or organizations will admit, they eat that crap up.
They do. They
always have. So yeah, it's an easy sell. And let's remember, he's also got the complexion for protection. That helps. Let's be clear.
Put that on the shirt. Complexion of protection. Put that on the shirt.
For protection. So again, and even if he struggles early on this season,
which is a high possibility.
A very high possibility because they got a pretty tough schedule. And they start out in Pittsburgh to start the season. Listen, he's on the clock too. Because I think if he struggles this year, and this is my humble belief, if he struggles this year, the 49ers quarterback of the future ain't on that roster.
Yeah.
The 49ers quarterback in 2024 is a guy by the name of Kirk Cousins, who's in the last year of his deal in Minnesota, would die to get back with Kyle Shanahan.
Yep. And he'd probably take a pay cut to do it too.
Yeah. It's
definitely a possibility with that too.
Yeah.
Because it ain't gonna be Sam Darnold, but crazy if Sam Darnold play. But also, we got to look at this. Another guy who possibly could be a 49ers quarterback, who another team might be giving up on too, is Mr. Dak Prescott, Mr. Dakota Prescott. He had a lot to say, or not a lot to say. His emotions showed a lot. Like your body language tell you a lot about this trade. Let's see what Dak had to say about it, though, Sean. Let's see what Mr. Dakota had to say.
I mean, I can't say that I necessarily expected it, no. I understand that that's business. I understand that they're probably on a timeline. They need to get something done. And as I said, he felt like that strengthened his team. To be honest with you, I'm not surprised by anything anymore. You've been in this league 8 years, been on this team. It's hard to say that I was surprised, to be honest with you.
Okay. Sean, what do you think about what Mr. Dakota? Because I took two quotes for this, but I'm gonna let you go ahead and go first on it. I took two things.
Go ahead.
Okay, the two key things that I took from that he said, the team has a timeline. What is that timeline, sir? Because only thing that might be on the ticket clock in the hot seat is you. So if you figure that he knowing that his time is up, that shocked me that he said that. There also for him to say I'm not surprised by anything, especially playing for the Cowboys, because everything being in the news, and they want to do what's best to make the team better. Dak, the quarterback position is not like the running back, the offensive lineman, the wide receiver. It's not multiple quarterbacks on the field at the time, unless the Saints running Taysom Hill, who's really a running back wide receiver. But I don't think they're going to use Trey Lance like that because he's not a utility quarterback. He ain't no Tim Tebow.
Mm-hmm. So
I think your job is up for grabs, sir. But go ahead, Sean.
So I would say the timeline has nothing to do with Dak. The timeline was they needed to get a deal done in case another team wanted to try to swoop in and
get them. Okay,
and get them. So that's the timeline. Dak has a $60 million cap hit next season. Yeah, the Cowboys have already talked about extending Dak. One, because they want to lower that cap hit, and two, because they still like him.
Right.
So Dak should be worried about, his job security. Dak has to worry about going out and playing good football. That's the first thing. And that's the only thing Dak needs to be worried about is playing good football. And be the leader of the Dallas Cowboys. That's his job. And if he's worrying about who they traded for or who they're adding to the quarterback room, you're worrying about the wrong thing.
You worry about the wrong thing. Thank you. Yep, he's worried about the wrong thing.
You don't control that, right? The 49ers back in the day traded for Steve Young. And I heard a person who was in the front office of the 49ers talk about this. When they traded for Steve Young, they still had Joe Montana. Joe Montana was on the team. Joe Montana was coming off a very good season. But the object in these leagues, NFL, NBA, MLB, is to add talent to your team. That's the job. And you have to do that. And so the Cowboys did that. Now, the reason why I don't think it makes sense for the Cowboys is because the big issue with Trey Lance is he has not gotten a chance to play, whether with injury, which last year would have been injury, or in his rookie year where they didn't intend to play him like that anyway because they already had an established starter.
And I don't think he's playing over Dak either.
Right. No, he's not playing over Dak. And the truth is, he's probably not playing over Cooper Rush, who's the backup, who the Cowboys are 5-1 with as a starter. So, it's they see this as he's a young, talented guy who's not gotten a chance. Maybe he won't get a chance in Dallas. Maybe it'll be a situation where there's a team that has a quarterback injury and they need to add another quarterback to the room, and they call the Cowboys about Trey Lance. So, and maybe the Cowboys are able to recoup a fourth-round pick or something.
A third, maybe.
So at the end of the day, it's these are what teams do. A guy becomes available, you give up a mid-round pick, which you got Dak in the fourth round.
Well, yeah.
So at the end of the day, that's the job. That's their responsibility, and that's what the Cowboys did. My big issue is unless Dak completely flames out,
which is a possibility.
But you're not benching Dak for Trey Lance. If you're going to bench Dak, it's going to be for Cooper Rush. I don't know. Well, I mean, again, it's the only comparison I can make, SB, is when the Eagles brought Michael Vick in.
Mm-hmm.
The Eagles brought Michael Vick in. He was the third quarterback on that team. The first year they had Donovan McNabb and they had Kevin Cobb. Vick was the third guy. The next year they trade Donovan McNabb, and Vick is elevated to the backup.
Right.
Kevin Cobb gets hurt in the first game against Green Bay. Vick comes in and plays well and ends up having the best season of his career. And the rest is history. So
shout out Vick.
Yeah. So that's the only real comparison I can make in this particular situation. So it may not even be Trey Lance playing this year. It may be, hey, he's in the system and we think he's got potential, and maybe you elevate him to the backup next year. But, I don't know. Again, there's a lot of possibilities with Trey Lance right now for the Cowboys, but one of them is not him coming in and taking Dak's job.
Yeah, because I'm like, how bad that got to play for the fan base in Dallas to probably call for Trey Lance to play. Because I think the Cowboys got a finesse for me. I think like you get a young quarterback with the potential to be great for a 4th-round pick. That's a steal. You got to take that.
Yeah,
you got to. But last question of the day: did the 49ers? Because my allergies is kicking my butt. I'm finna go take some medicine. My allergies kicking my butt this episode. But did the 49ers give up on Trey Lance too quickly? I'm 100% say yes. 4 games is not enough sample size, and a quarter of a season of a guy playing elite, Mr. Irrelevant in the media stories is not enough to give up on your 1st-round quarterback. You're supposed to keep him now, and you're supposed to give him a chance. I think how quick they traded Trey Lance and how quick Brock Purdy, because I know Brock Purdy ain't come in training camp just playing like prime Joe Montana or prime Brady. I think they was already planning to get rid of Trey Lance for me. So I think they gave him soon as Brock Purdy got them to the 2nd round of playoffs, to be honest with you.
I think that there's a lot of truth to that. But to me, when they got rid of when they brought in Sam Darnold, that told me what they thought about Trey Lance.
Yeah, that was the second sign already that he was going to be gone.
Yeah, it wasn't even about, because again, for me, if I'm the Niners and I'm saying, okay, Brock Purdy's come in, he's gotten us to the playoffs, we've been able to blah, 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 yada, yada, had a success. Great. Mm-hmm. Now let's have a quarterback competition. We did open this guy. We did, trade a lot of assets to get this one guy. We were able to luckily get this other guy late in the draft as the last pick in the draft. Let's have a quarterback competition. There was no quarterback competition this summer in San
Francisco. It clearly wasn't. It's nothing. It's nothing that Kyle Shanahan can come up to a mic podium and tell me that Trey Lance got a fair shot at that job. I don't think. I think he had a better chance at getting the backup position, didn't that?
Right.
So I don't think. I don't think so.
Did they give up on him too quickly? I think they did. And again, we look at there were teams or there were people calling for the Packers to trade Jordan Love for 2 years. In Green Bay. And you know this full well, SB. The Packers have done this before. They drafted Aaron Rodgers while they still had Brett Favre. Aaron Rodgers played for 3 years. He played for 3 years. And then now he comes in and he plays very well when he finally gets in. Jordan Love could have the same possibility. The fact that the Niners didn't try that same route with Trey Lance says, yes, they gave up on him too quickly.
Yeah. And then they gave him up for nothing. So that's why I'm like, that's another thing. Like, when you give a player up for nothing, because I don't care that a guy has an attitude that he is the 3rd string option. I mean, he was the 1st-round pick, a top pick in the draft. Of course, you want to be the top guy. But you as an organization, you got to realize you invested this much in this guy. And I believe was this his I think he had another year in his contract, right?
With Trey Lance?
Yes. Oh, because they did.
So it's
this was last year.
So it's a 4-year deal with a 5th-year option. So this is his 3rd year. So after this year, they wouldn't have to make the decision about picking up his 5th-year option.
Right.
So
I would have kept him.
Yeah. Now, again, I think they should have kept him only if they intended to play him.
Yeah.
And it was clear they did not intend to play him.
No, they did not. They did not intend to play him, which sucks for Trey Lance, and I think he could be better. But on to the next one, Sean. RTOFD mailbag. Sorry to say this, Sean. I might have to get that sound. We have nothing in the mailbag. So if anybody have any questions for me and Sean on today's episode, please let us know now before we shut it down. But yes, Sean. I don't have a sound effect for it. I might have to. No mail today. Sometimes having no mail is a good thing, which I learned being an adult. Because usually we have a lot of mail, a lot of times it is bills. So I shall pass on that one. So no mailbag today. And like I said, another great episode of Real Takes Old Fake Debates. Not too much going on in the news, so Sean ain't going to prolong it. And my allergies are kicking my butt, so I'm going to go take some medicine before I sneeze all over this episode. And I halfway not breathing on this episode, so I'm sorry about that. And sorry, everybody who's watching. My allergies are kicking my butt. But Real Takes Old Fake Debate Show with me, SB, and Sean Webb every Monday and Friday at 7 p.m. Central Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Sean, any last words of today's episode?
No, just good. Glad to be with you as always, Monday and Friday. Yeah. Tiffany said LeVar Jackson MVP season, Super Bowl. We'll see. We'll see.
I know she know. Now that Super Bowl stand for SB because she know they ain't got no chance to make it a Super Bowl. I know she won't word that out of that. See, the best they can probably do is LeVar just get another MVP, but that ain't gonna happen.
I think the Ravens make the AFC Championship game though. I do have them pick to go to the AFC Championship game.
To be who?
No, I'm not saying they're gonna win the AFC Championship game. I have them making the AFC Championship game.
Oh, we will see. We was supposed to do predictions. We gonna say that. We gonna say that for Friday. We gonna say that for Friday because I believe the season start next week.
Well, next Thursday.
Next Thursday. Okay, yeah. So yeah, we gonna do it Friday. Save for Friday. NFL predictions. I know I forgot something.
Friday and Monday we'll be doing some
predictions.
Some NFL predictions.
Yes, so. But yeah, man, we're going to shut it down here, y'all, everybody, because SB is going to go get some medicine, maybe some NyQuil. All right. SB Talk Sports, Real Takes Over the Base with my boy Sean Webb every Monday and Saturday at 7 p.m., 8 p.m. Central in Eastern Time. On to the next one, man.
All right.
Salute, everybody.
Yeah. Don't get too comfortable in the streets, cause niggas, they love with that. Don't get too comfortable in the streets, cause niggas, they love with that.